Hello, it's time for Trial Track. I'm Tom Haylock, joined by Glenn Ingram. Good evening, Glenn. How are you, mates?
Good evening, Tom. Good, mate. Just had a nice bowl of baked beans for dinner, and looks like it's baked beans on the menu probably the rest of the week, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. We had a tough week. Devon County, I don't know if you saw that on Thursday. Wow, the sick beats continue with that. But anyway, we've been doing it for 10 years, mate, so hopefully we'll be back in form very shortly. There's plenty of winners. I'm pretty confident Rosehill Saturday. What do you think of the track at Moonee Valley? Incredible bias. I think was it 7 out of the 9 winners led at Moonee Valley last time they raced there. How's the track going to play?
I doubt we'll get that again. I think there was such an uproar that I think the track managers probably had the wind up him in leading up to this meeting. So I think they'll be getting off the rail, and there is a little bit of rain forecast on the day too. But, I keep hearing about the evening up the track, Tom, but you need to see it before you believe it, don't you?
You do, so we'll see how it goes. Still filthy about the runner that drew barrier 1, mapped to lead, and she jumped, and I forgot the name of the horse now. Who was that? Do you remember?
Slane,
yes. Jumped to the lead from barrier 1, restrained it, and let something cross it, and the horse that crossed it won easy. It's just sick, mate. It is just
I was at Moonee Valley there, Tom. I'm glad there was no cameras on me because I was kicking the dirt in the ground. I was that angry. I was like, what? You think you find the right horse, and then the jockey just hands it up.
After you've seen the leader skip clear and win 3 in a row, and then the 4th race you step out and just concede.
Gross.
Beggars belief, mates. Beggars belief. Still can't catch Jason Collette. He cooked me again on Wednesday with a horse. We're flying. I just got back from Darwin, actually, mate. Darwin Cup, which was good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
It was good. Thoroughly enjoyable. Recommend it. Get to the gala ball. You look nice in a tuxedo, mate. It was a brilliant night, and it was a bit quieter this year than normal, but it was good fun.
What do you think that was?
I think it's the state of the industry at the moment, not just the gambling side of things. Obviously, wagering's hard with the way things are going at the moment, but cost of living is huge. So I don't think people are spending the cash and going up to Darwin. It's expensive that time of year. So, I just think there's a lot of holidays and businesses just cutting back on spend.
Yep, junkets at a minimum.
Yep.
Probably.
Didn't stop me.
But you still found your way there, so the important people are still on the junket.
Working very hard, thank you, Glenn.
Sure, mate.
Don't give me don't give me that. There's some massive trials Friday morning in Sydney. I don't know if the stars are returning, but can't wait to preview them and review them and get them up on the website, thetrialfiles.com.au as well, Glenn. We'll be heading up in Melbourne too, mate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, it's all happening at the moment. We had 2 big sets at Cranbourne and Flemington on Monday.
Have you got through those 40-odd trials?
Yeah.
Cranbourne, there was 25 at Cranbourne, was it?
25 at Cranbourne, all kept within, I think, 10 metres of the rail there. I don't know if you saw the trial show on racing.com, and we showed Tony McAvoy was really dirty because they promised they were going to split the groups. So they weren't on chopped track, and didn't happen.
Really? That's interesting.
Not happy.
Cliff Brown had a nice filly in trial 21. I haven't seen it yet, but heard it with it right. Okay. Half to La Danse Rouge, who won the listed race. Oh. There you go. There you go. Question without notice. So check that out. I'll be reviewing that straight on the back of this, mate. But let's get to some tips. We'll start with Rosehill, and I'm very bullish on 2, if not 3. It's a good day of racing. So I think the track will be a bit fairer, Glenn, than it has been in the past. Round and 3 metres, it is firm though, good weather. So shoot start specifically will be hard to make ground as they often are, but just monitor that as the day progresses. But kick off race 1, Glenn. I am pretty bullish. Race 1, number 2, Caballos. Now this is the horse that was unlucky first up, was not really in the betting. It was a decent price on debut. Over a distance, stepped back last start and beat a very good horse by Mara and Eustace. They got a huge opinion of Estrella. And that was when we tipped Shaken. Just sums up how we're going at the moment. We tipped Shaken. She loomed up and bled from both nostrils. So that just sums up the way we're going. But Estriella and Caballas fought out the finish. Caballas just finished up at the top of them. I think this horse is very talented. I think the second horse is very talented. I think it's the right form. I think this horse can go on to a Guineas. I think Chris Waller's talking about Guineas with this horse, and that's how good they think this horse is. So I think it'll be charging late, drawn well. I think the Little Pumper and Rockabilly Rebel are probably the two on speed. I've got an opinion of Rockabilly Rebel, both of them really, but I think Caballas is top notch and better than those two, and will be winning the first race 1, number 2 there, mates.
All right, we'll get to race 5.
Just on that, take the $2.45 now. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts a bit shorter than that.
Oh, okay. Bullish, Tom. Race 5, a horse that started its career in South Australia, obviously with Will Clark, and it's done the rounds a little bit. You're pretty keen to go with it. Is it first up?
Yeah, first up. No graphic here to show because at the time of previewing this, Chris Waller, he loves helping the punters out, the great man. He's got James McDonald. He's got James McDonald booked on 2 runners here, Glenn. Lancia and Extremely Lucky. Now, whoever runs will win. And if one of them will get scratched because McDonald can't ride them both, then it's Thursday night and he still hasn't scratched one. I'm hearing Alencia will come out, so that makes Extremely Lucky is going to be very short. Just monitor how the track has played in the first 4 races, Glenn, because both Alencia and Extremely Lucky get back run-on horses. They map to be back. I can't see Alencia running because it probably maps to be near last, if not last, and Extremely Lucky can be a pair closer. I think Extremely Lucky will win. You'll get a prohibitive price. If Alencia is scratched, you might get $1.70, but different gravy to this lot. And I think he'll be winning his trials in Sydney for Chris Waller, formerly with Clark. And as he said, Chris Waller's got this horse going really well. Very nice horse. He can be a group winner easily, and it's a nice stepping stone. So if the track's fair, he'll be winning. Extremely Lucky. Keep an eye on that.
Good confident push. Race 8, the Rosebud, 1,100 metres listed race. We're going with the 2 here, Tis Invincible.
I am, yes. Very confident in this horse too. The Mar Eustace stable have had a huge rep on this filly. It was their golden slipper horse, this horse. Got sent to the Black Opal. You probably remember I was very confident in the Black Opal when she was trapped 7 deep throughout and was pretty plain there. She stepped out second up and ran a great race in the Percy Sykes, probably not on a suitable surface, was heavy 8 there. She's a better horse at the top of the ground. She gets that today. She maps well. 5 of the 8 are first up here, Glenn. She's the one I want to be with for the trials. I think she is a very, very nice horse. Again, $2.45. Take that now. I think you'll get... I've got her marked much shorter than that. I think she's even money chance. You've got the Instructor, who's a good horse, leading, introducing up there as well. And I think Tis Invincible just maps on their back, and McDonald will get this horse into the clear and should be too good for them, mate. So I think that's the way I want to go. The Instructor and introducing are both good horses up on speed. Hopefully they just put a bit of pressure on each other. I know Tim Clark's a good judge of speed, but hoping there's enough pressure and expecting Tis Invincible off their back and be winning.
You think the Instructor would have to improve a fair bit to be winning as a 3-year-old? Tom, he was pretty professional 2-year-old on the pace.
Yeah, it's interesting because he comes off a really high rating Blue Diamond. Now, the ratings are completely irrelevant, really, from the track. Obviously, we're at Sandown with the rail, with the finishing line pushed right back. So it's interesting to see what the data teams do with that Blue Diamond. We've talked about it a lot. You go through punting form and whatnot. The race rates through the roof, but it's there's no data to back that up, so no historical data. So, I think he does need to improve. He's got the right racing pattern, Glenn, but I think Tis Invincible is a potential Group 1 horse in the making, and I think she can win at start 3 here.
All right, you're going to talk us through the last 2 races here, race 9 and 10 at Rosehill, and then we'll head to Moonee Valley.
Yeah, race 9, a lot of eyes on number 2, Pericles, on the back of a visually impressive trial, Glenn. You just go back and look at that trial. Now, it was up against Stayers, and they went very slowly there, and he sprinted over the top of them. I love the profile of these horses back from middle distance or longer journeys, 2,000 metres last start, back in trip. But again, McDonald on. First up, fresh, 1,400 metres should be okay, but This is a horse that got beaten by Glinta Silva quite comfortably first up last campaign, or fresh last campaign, over 1,400 metres as well. Makes that horse 6.5 kilos worse, and that was only 5 runs ago. So I can't possibly back a map negative horse at short price, and I dare say he might drift a little bit on the back of that. Really interested to see what the market does. His trial was good. I like the profile, but I can't. I'm scared. I don't want to back him.
That's the 2 Pericles, Tom?
Yeah, that's the 2 Pericles. Yeah. I don't know who. That's the problem. I'm not really confident of anything to beat it either. And then we've got race 10. Similar story. Casablanca's really short here. This horse broke the track record and ran incredibly fast time in beating Greece at Cranbourne, then went to Sydney and just put in 2 average efforts at short prices. Continues to be priced off that peak performance. Now, it might have been a fluke. I'm not sure. I don't really know what to make of that. It was one out of the box, that high rating race, but hasn't performed anywhere near that in its last couple. There's just nothing in the race. I'm looking for Troach, who ties in through Rubinocchi, and Rubinocchi makes Troach better at the weights for beating at home comfortably. There's a bit down the bottom that go okay fresh, and I worried about Casablanca, but I couldn't possibly take odds on. That's the McDonald factor again, I believe. So Cur Royale's at the top. Worried that McDonald's not riding it. That's a Waller horse with 60 kilos. So don't know what to do in race 10. I've previewed the race, but I'm not confident. Just thought I'd mention Casablanca. I thought the trial was good without being brilliant.
I saw Pericles at Sandown a couple of weeks ago. The first time I've seen the horse. Yeah, he's really short in his action. Couldn't have him from the yard at all. So
interesting.
Don't know. Maybe he's at the end of the prep. I think he's had a few runs now, hasn't he?
No, he's fresh. Pericles. You might be thinking of another horse.
Okay.
He's fresh off the autumn. He ran in with Group 1.
Oh, right.
You might be thinking of someone else. Let's get to Moonee Valley, mates. I'm really interested to get your thoughts on a couple, especially in race 9. But let's kick off Moonee Valley race 2.
Yep. Probably my best roughie on the card, Tom. I'm going a little bit loose here in number 7, Bang Home. Hopefully we can bang home a winner.
We're due.
Early on the card, very due. And this horse is lightly raced, only had 5 starts, a couple of wins. I think he's building a pretty good profile. He was a total for Give at Sandown 2 starts back in a race like this. When he was 5 weeks between runs, went hard up front and just knocked up. So thought it was a total for Give. Latest run went back to the synthetic on a 58 at Ballarat and recorded a pretty easy win. Took a sit that day and got the job done. But he's a nice horse. He's got a wide gate, but gets the blinkers going on here, Tom. And with Field of Flutes running at Bendigo today, he can take her spot up on the speed. And he's a good beginner. And I think if the gear change gives him anything, he'll be in the finish. And he's about $23.
Is it Blinker's first time?
Yeah.
Interesting, because they can be probably not half a length, but a stride slow when they leave the barriers. Blinker's first time. So from the outside barrier, I hope he jumps well and can cross easily enough.
I did think that, and being out wide, it's probably not going to penalise him, but he's generally a good beginner anyway.
That's a good point, because if he was drawn inside, he'd have to muster up and maybe overdo it, whereas he can just cart across at his own leisure there. So that's race 2, number 7, Bang Home. We move to race 8, number 11, Botany, mate.
Yeah, well, she's been up a long time, Tom, and produced probably her best performance to date. Last start, she went to 2,400 metres, and she was really dominant there against her own sex. And I was at Sandown that day, and fair dinkum, Carleen Heffel could not pull the mare up. She was bolting through the line, so that suggests to me that there's more to come this prep. And she takes on the males. She goes up in grade, so there's a couple of things against her, but she gets in light and she'll be up on the pace. I think she'll settle in the first 2, so I know they say the track's expected to play fairer to those coming off the speed, but let's wait and see if that's actually the case. I always think it's good to be up on the pace at Moonee Valley, but her best form's on good rated tracks, and with forecast rain on the day, I think if it doesn't come, she's right in the mix here. So I'm going to have something each way on Botany at about that $6.50.
Race 8, number 11 there, Botany. We move to another one by 3. Race 10, number 1, Calico Jack.
Yeah, I think this horse is ready to go first up. He's had a number of jump outs, 3, Tom, at Cranbourne. We've been talking about him a bit. He had a course gallop at Moonee Valley during the week. Went really well there. It's got Ethan Brown. I love Ethan Brown from a wide gate going forward. He's very aggressive early. I've got plenty of confidence that he'll be able to sit outside the lead, who looks to be Helix, the favourite from the low draw. So his form last prep was pretty solid. He knocked up in a Group 2 before the break. His record generally suggests he needs the run first up before building into his prep, but really can't fault the way he's jumped out. I think he's jumped out as good as I've seen. So at the price, I'm happy to be on it at a 1x3.
Race 10, number 1 there at Moonee Valley. Just before we go, I want to ask you about Inundation. Race 9, interesting horse who's clearly got issues.
Yeah, clearly a good trial horse, but yeah, got issues breathing, heart arrhythmia, all sorts of stuff. He's got the works, but I heard Mick Price say, might have been this morning, that, fair enough, the punters don't trust him, and he's not sure about him either. So there's one in the race that you think might be able to knock it over.
Just a horse that I think will thrive at 1,000 metres Valley, the absolute 1,000-metre dry track horse. So hopefully the rain doesn't come. But Omni-Man, if the track's racing well, I think he'll be mighty hard to beat. He's airborne at the moment, mate, and running good times. He's actually running some really high-rating races that have been set at good tempos, and he's still finished off the race as well. So Omni-Man will be mighty hard to beat. Just monitor how the track goes there. I do think he's a dry tracker, so just see that.
And did have a gallop at the Valley during the week, so it's always handy to have a sider at least.
You weren't convinced the way he moved there?
Not really. I wasn't that wrapped in him. I thought the stablemate OK Cupid got around the Valley well. Might be one early in the day to have a look at.
There you go. Beautiful, mate. Thanks for joining me. Good show.
Thanks, Tom. Great to have you back from Darwin.
Thank you. Hopefully we find a few winners. I'm pretty bullish at Rosehill, as I said. So fingers crossed we're due for some luck and a couple of winners. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining the trialfiles.com.au.